a couple days this week. But the word today is peace. And I think I really feel like sometimes these words are just brought to you because you need it, because this is something I have been really struggling with lately. Just with the state of our world, and there's just so much division, and there's just so much going on right now. Like, you all know, you live in it too, so I don't need to tell you about it. But this is something I've really been struggling with. So I went, oh, peace. Like, when I saw this yesterday, I went, oh, this is something that I can't even relate to right now. But then I realized, oh, well, that's probably why I need it. So just real quick, a definition: freedom from disturbance, tranquility, harmony in personal relations, calm and quiet. And just some things that I kind of pulled out from the internet. To find peace, sometimes you have to be willing to lose your connection with the people, places, and things that create all the noise in your life. And I think this is something that right there probably was one of the biggest lessons that I pulled from this yesterday, because there are a lot of places that I think are stirring up, well, the opposite of peace, that are stealing peace. For me, some of that is just mainstream media. I can't plug into that at all. I read my news. I can't watch videos because I spiral, right? I can't handle it. And then there's certain people in my life that are pot stirrers, right? Do you guys relate to that with anybody in your life, that they're happiest when there's drama? They're happiest when, they're kind of stealing peace from people. And I know that, but sometimes we can just plug back into it. And so I'm really working on that today, to kind of focus on what I can disconnect from in order to gather some of that peace. But couple other quotes: peace comes from within, do not seek it without. That's Buddha. And then peace is the result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be. And that was Wayne Dyer. And I thought that was so powerful. So then from there, I'm like, okay, all this sounds great, right? Like, I would love to have some peace in my life. I would love to, live in a place of calm, but how? So did a little bit more searching on how to cultivate it. So the first thing that I found that spoke to me was to set some limits. And this can be in terms of limits for yourself. Like, for myself, I know that I probably need to get off Facebook a little bit. Maybe I need to hide some people or snooze them. Just disconnect from certain things. And then also some boundaries. So maybe there's some people in my life that I can say, this topic is allowed, this topic isn't. And then just for myself, what am I going to allow into my bubble? So just set some limits for yourself on the things that are stealing your peace. 2, don't make mountains out of molehills. Now, there were a million suggestions, so you guys are going to figure out what my issues are today. But don't make mountains out of molehills. So sometimes things are a big deal, and then sometimes they're not. And just taking a moment to figure out what is and what isn't. And that little second pause. I've heard Myra talk about the pause before. And just taking that pause to realize, okay, this is something that, this could be my hill to die on, or maybe it's not. So I need to just let this go. And then unclutter your world. This is a huge one for me. I can't work in a mess. It drives me bonkers, drives my family bonkers that I can't. I don't like, if there's a flat surface, I want it empty. I love getting rid of as much clutter as possible. And it just helps bring some calm into my environment. So if you're feeling a little frantic when you're in certain spaces, maybe look around and see if there's something that you can get rid of that will bring some more peace into it. Be 10 minutes early. So I'm a rusher, I'm a hurrier, I'm a late human, but I do find if I take the time to get there a little bit earlier, it just brings a lot more calm. And then this is something that I do a lot in pretty much any argument. So if we ever get in a tiff, now I'm probably asking myself this, hopefully we won't, but do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? And I think sometimes so much of our conflict that we can have with other people, be it business or personal, is that we're really focused, or I'm really focused on, I want to be right, darn it, I want to be right. But sometimes that's not the best thing for anybody. Maybe I just want to be happy, and there's some things that I can just let let slide and say, you know what, our relationship has more value than this. My peace has more value than this. I'm just going to let it go. And then communicate. So if you're dealing with other people in any way, make sure that you're asking what they're actually communicating with you, because we might miss it. And sometimes we're guessing and we're making an assumption, and it's not the right one. So I'll leave with that, just some tips on cultivating peace. And Myra, I'll turn it all over to you.
Oh, that's great, Andrea. Thank you, as always, for a very good message. I tell you what, you're kind of stepping on Coach Palmer's toes. You're bringing the heat while he's gone. So thank you for stepping in. You know, the first thing I thought of when I just started thinking, it's hard to think of words, y'all, I'm telling you. But when peace came to the front of my mind when I sent it out, it was the first thing that came to my mind was that song that I learned in Vacation Bible School. I've got the peace that passeth understanding down in my heart. That's the very first thing that I thought of. So when I went to Bible school way back, that peace was, the song was one of the big things in Vacation Bible School. So that was one of the very first things that I thought of. And you know, every single one of us, if we closed our eyes right now, I would challenge you, when you get stressed out, go to that one place that just brings you back down into a peaceful flow. My peaceful flow is in my favorite island in the world, in the Caribbean, in Anguilla. There's a place on Rendezvous Bay that I can go to in my mind, and I can relax in a way, even in my mind there, to get myself to calm and to find some peace. But in my research for today, I was all over the place, which is not anything new for me. But I stumbled across this story, and I love to share stories with you that I think are meaningful. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to read this story to you, and I want you to try to go to this story yourself to try to draw from it. So it was a great, hold on just a second. Wait a minute. It was a guy, hold on. There was a guy, as a king, I believe I can just tell it. There was a king that had a great fascination with paintings. And he had a competition amongst everybody in his village. And the prize was a great deal of financial stability. And so hundreds of paintings were submitted for his judgment to find out what people's paintings were trying to say were peaceful. Well, he narrowed it to 2. And how it was explained in the story was, the first one was exactly like I think we all think. It was a beautiful landscape of mountains out in the middle of a beautiful lake. And it was just on and on of just scenery and beautiful calmness. And the next one was the complete opposite. It was a desert with landscape, with just the dirt of a desert and mountains of desert. And then in the background, they had intertwined a storm that had come up with water flowing down the side of that mountain. And he chose that. And the people that were in this competition to try to win the prize, the big prize that was life-changing for this family, were confused. And he told them, he said, you're not looking at this landscape with 100% conviction. Look closely at the waterfall that came from the storm down this mountain. And as you looked at it, you could see a nest and a mama bird with 2 of her little birds feeding them behind all of that chaos with such love and conviction and patience. And he said, to me, this is peace. When we are amongst everything around that may look like it's a disarray. You look hard enough, you will find peace if you're looking in the right perspective. So that's what I had to share today. And it really resonated with me because I know I've been very guilty when it gets very stressful in my world to look around, and immediately it just looks like more and more and more. Like Andrea said, we know what's going on around us. But you know what? When I look hard enough, and I use y'all as an example a lot, when I look hard enough on peaceful days, I know every morning I get to look and I see peace with my family every morning. So anyway, I hope that this resonated with you, and I'm just so thankful I stumbled upon this story. So look for your peace today and every day. God bless you, and I love you. Look forward to seeing you in the morning.